What's up, cum farts? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm back on 2K22 and I'm going to be putting Prime Shaq and Kobe into the WNBA and seeing what they can do. I recently did this with Ben Simmons, who's an above average NBA player at an 84 overall, but this is going to be a lot more fun and entertaining considering Shaq and Kobe are both 98 overalls when taken off the all-time Lakers team. So essentially what I do to make this possible is I record myself going over Shaq and Kobe's player DNAs and copying every value over to a WNBA player, and I try to make them look like Shaq and Kobe in the game. Kobe just ends up being the epitome of beauty in ancient Egypt, and Shaq just looks like a mix between Zion Williamson and a frequent attendee of a Bible Baptist church. I then started a WNBA GM mode and uploaded the roster, and I thought it would only be right if I put them on the Los Angeles Sparks, coached by Derek Fisher, who probably isn't working his dream job, but things could be a lot worse. And unlike Ben Simmons, these guys are actually starting without me making any adjustments. In their first game against the Dallas Wings, they ended up winning by 34 points. Shaq had 30 and 15, and Kobe had 19, 7 and 3. After simulating through 3 weeks, they ended up getting their first loss by 2 points to the Chicago Sky. I blame Kobe for this loss and the Minneapolis riots. He only had 12 points on 4 for 13 shooting. I simulated about halfway through the season. They had one loss again to the Chicago Sky, and when checking their stats, Shaq is leading the league in scoring with 24.7 points per game, and Kobe is in third place, getting beaten by a woman just like Dalvin Cook. He's averaging 21 points per game, but Breanna Stewart, who is a 95 overall, is averaging 23.4. Shaq is also leading the league in rebounds at 14.5 rebounds per game, and Brittany Griner is at 13.7 rebounds in second place. Shaq is also leading the league in steals per game, and Kobe is right behind him in second place. And I hate to reuse jokes, but this one's too easy. He may be a woman, but he's still black. And again, Shaq and Kobe are 1 and 2 in field goal percentage, probably due to the fact that Shaq is 7'1" and 325 pounds, and Kobe is 6'6". And one last thing that Shaq is leading the league in is missed free throws. He's at about 57% from the free throw line, while the closest to him is at about 70%. And for the rest of the season, the Los Angeles Sparks went 29 and 3, and their only other loss was to the Atlanta Dream. Can you really blame them though? Have you ever met a woman from Atlanta? They probably just wanted to go home early.
Why they gotta put us on blast?
But Shaq won most valuable player with 24 points, 15 rebounds, 2.5 blocks per game. His field goal percentage and free throw percentage are almost identical, and I don't know if that's a good thing or not. Kobe won rookie of the year because I guess I made him a rookie and I didn't make Shaq one. And no surprise, Shaq also won defensive player of the year. In the semifinals, the Spark went up against the Sky, who they have previously lost 2 games to, but they ended up sweeping them. Shaq averaged 22 points per game in this series, but Kobe only averaged about 14 points per game. I don't know, maybe Kobe's tensing up being around all these women, hoping not to catch another allegation. But in the WNBA finals, they ended up winning 2 games without me even having to help them. In game 1, Shaq did just score 39 points and 14 rebounds, and Kobe also put up 24, so they definitely don't need my help, but I'm gonna go into a game and watch it just so I can pump out some fucking content. I also want to see them dunk on some women. Shaq, I remember, had a 100 tendency of standing dunking, and Kobe was also pretty high. They had about like a dozen or so dunk packages. So let's tune in. Don't bump your head on the glass. Going into the game, Shaq is now a 99 overall, and Kobe is still a 98. Hold on, I have to wait for this fucking helicopter to leave. I swear to God. I don't know who's on life support trying to get flown to the hospital, but they need to shut the fuck up. I'm trying to record a YouTube video here. But the links aren't bad. All of their starters are an 80 overall or higher, and Sylvia Fowles was also the MVP of the season. And say what you want about me making fun of women in general in the WNBA, but through doing this, I have learned a lot about the WNBA, and if a gun was pointed to my head and I had to name 5 WNBA players, I could at least name 4. The links took a lead early on, but let me introduce you to a man named Kobe Bean Bryant. He just hit a 3 on the MVP and was turning around before it even went in. Shaq got his first points on a contested drop step, although none of these shots are really contested. The tallest opponent he'll ever face in this game is 6'6". Sylvia Fowles tried backing down Shaq, but that didn't work out too well considering Shaq has a 7'7" wingspan. Shaq then proceeded to try to play point guard, almost got the ball taken away from him, but this led to the first WNBA dunk I've ever seen by a computer. He just took women back a couple hundred years with that slam. From here, Kobe was starting to warm up. His 3-point shot was just on target this whole game. This was a pretty bad pass, but Shaq just ends up mossing Sylvia Fowles and gets an easy 2. And Shaq gets an offensive rebound and puts it back up while he's double teamed. It doesn't matter though. And I think this relates to what a great poet once said. They forgot about 2 things:
My black balls.
Shaq's getting pushed away from the basket, but still can't miss if he tried. And Shaq just violates this woman here, probably one of the most disrespectful dunks of this whole entire game. Number 12 had a hand in his face, and he still just did a standing dunk all over her. This is exactly what I imagined would happen though. But what I didn't think would happen is Shaq ends up playing like a guard here, gets a strip on a point, starts doing some fancy dribbling, but then he goes back to what he's good at, getting another bucket in the paint. I don't know why they aren't triple teaming this lady from the start. And in the start of the second quarter, Shaq wasn't in the game, but Kobe was, and he was hitting more threes out there than Wilt Chamberlain in his prime. Number 15 right here, instead of hitting Shaq on the pick and roll or for an alley-oop, she decided to do whatever this was, but she made up for it. She had a pretty decent pass here, and as you might have expected, Shaq was just dominating out here. Nobody could stop him. Even was playing point guard here, just messing around, finished with the spinning layup. He led the half in scoring with 22 points and also had 8 rebounds to go with that. Sylvia Fowles led the Lynx with 8 points and 5 rebounds, and Kobe was also having a decent game so far with 17 points at the half. And one of the Lynx players gets an offensive rebound here and tries to put it back up, but Shaq proceeds to backhand the ball. And I guess this got Shaq riled up because on the next play, he gets an alley-oop dunk. I'm just impressed that lady knew where to throw it. Here's just another of many great offensive possessions by the Minnesota Lynx. Shaq again is just having his way in the paint, and this led to one of the most quiet timeouts I have ever heard. This is a finals game, and let's just listen into how hyped this crowd is.
Point blank look, time and time again.
There weren't really any great highlights for the rest of the third quarter, and at one point I had to witness Shaq and Kobe both be on the bench, and it really felt like I was at a real WNBA game. Also, the score was 80-52 going into the fourth quarter, so this game is pretty much over, so I'm going to actually play the game myself and see what I can do against these ladies. The very first play, I run a pick and roll and get an easy dunk with Shaq, and the following possession, I again run the pick and roll, except this time I finish with Kobe. He gets the first dunk of his WNBA career. Then I get a steal with Shaq. I give the ball to Kobe, and instead of looking for an alley-oop pass to Shaq, I had to go in and dunk because Shaq decided he wanted to spot up for a 3 in transition. I butcher this pick and roll sequence, but it still ends up with Shaq getting a reverse dunk in traffic and one. I try to throw an alley-oop to Shaq with Kobe, but it gets deflected and it leads to a green 3 for Kobe. Here I get the defender on her heels. I draw the double team and Shaq is wide open for an easy dunk. Sylvia Fowles' head is at his knees in this shot right here. Kobe gets a little cockback dunk here, and at this point Kobe and Shaq are both hot, so this means they're going to get double teamed as soon as they dribble, which leads to a wide open dunk for Shaq. Sylvia Fowles keeps trying this cute shit on me and it's not working out for her. In transition here, Kobe sets up an alley-oop, which I end up greening. Shaq barely gets off the ground here, yet all of the defenders' heads are at his waist level. Again, they won't stop double teaming me, so Kobe gets another wide open 3-pointer. Shaq, like I've said, is a point guard in the WNBA, gets a steal, runs a break, and throws an alley-oop to Kobe. Running the pick and roll again, and they're way too slow to react and defend this, so another wide open dunk for Kobe. And if I can run the pick and roll without them double teaming me, I can get a wide open dunk pretty much every single time. But we end up doubling their score plus 1 point, and we win the WNBA finals 113-56. Who could have predicted this? Actually, kind of sad to see Kobe getting emotional. I guess this would have tied him for Michael Jordan in rings won, but let's be honest, it's more like 5.75 than 6. But Shaq ended up with 43 points, 19 rebounds, 4 blocks on 21 for 22 shooting. Kobe had 42 points on 17 for 25 shooting, and Shaq won the finals MVP, averaging 35.3 points per game and 15.3 rebounds per game. And that's gonna do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. I actually did enjoy making this. It was actually pretty fun to play with them. But Cincinnati shouldn't make the college football playoffs. Don't drink and drive, and shout out my mom. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next one.